what's going on? Welcome to the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Brent Bodkin.
And I'm Quaysie Maule.
All right, so we are here, week 12 here in FlagPlus Football. Just a couple more weeks until the playoffs start. So obviously the excitement and the action is picking up here in FlagPlus Football. Of course, this is episode number 2. Episode number 1, we did all the 6v6 divisions. So of course, with episode number 2 here, we got the ladies, we got women's, we have co-ed, and of course we have 5v5. So let's get to the action here immediately. Let's start a little different this time. Usually we start with women's three, but we want to do something a little different this week. We're gonna start with 5v5 intermediate.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So
So looking
5v5
at the schedule, yeah. Sorry.
intermediate. No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
intermediate. Yeah,
Intermediate.
yeah, 5v5 intermediate. We got 3 games this week, 2 on Saturday. So today we're filming a little later in the week than usual. We're filming on Friday. So the games this weekend, by the time this episode comes out, will have been played already, but we can still talk about them quickly. Green Monster Football Quebec U16 taking place Saturday in Laval. Les Benchwarmers taking on Flag Avengers also Saturday at Stade Bear, and Sunday in Brassard it will be Flags Don't Lie taking on Green Monster. Of course, before we get to these games, obviously this week because of the snow and all the horrible weather that's going on, the dome at Laval because of the snow collapsed, so it's no longer in operation for the rest of this winter season. So if you have games in the Laval in the main field, that's still going on. So when you go to the schedule, you see Laval main, those games are going on. If you see your game posted online on social media, those games are the games that are still going on. Unfortunately, though, if you had a game scheduled in the dome, because of what happened this past week. The dome is done for the rest of the year, so those games will be rescheduled. So make sure to hit up the social medias for Flag Plus Football, or of course the website flagplusfootball.com to find out when those games that are scheduled to take place in the dome in Laval will be rescheduled.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We also got to see two games that happened before the collapsing of the
Yep.
dome. You had
Yep.
Team Quebec U18 versus Flag Avengers. So at least they got to play before the dome collapsed. But that was actually a pretty big game looking at the standings because Team Quebec U18 was pretty much in control of their destiny on finishing the first seed. But now it's really on Flag Avengers kind of winning out their next two games because they're gonna have that tie break on
Yep.
sorry, not the tiebreak. They're gonna have an extra win on Team Quebec U18 because they have two games left. So the best they can finish is 8-2, where Flag Vengers have two games left, and the best that they could finish is 9-1. So they have two games left. They play, as you said, they play the bench warmers. That's going to be this week. Sorry, that's going to be the bench warmers are going to be playing this week. And then next week they're gonna play Flags Don't Lie, and that's gonna be playing the following week, the March 28th. So they kind of hold their destiny um, on if they're gonna finish the first seed or they're gonna maybe drop down into the second seed, and they're gonna give Team Quebec that first seeded spot. Which is, to be honest with you, it's pretty big because it's either you play Green Monsters, where again they're not a bad team. They have decent guys. They have guys that have been playing a while for a while. Been playing for a bit, and
Yep.
then you have sorry, give me 1 second, and then you have the bench warmers that are struggling this year and they're 0-7.
Yeah. So, so I think with that win, to go to your point right about the Flag Avengers over Team Quebec U18, that's huge because it gives Flag Avengers the 2 game sweep, right, over Team Quebec U16 because they beat them 58-25 back in week 4. And then, like you said, 27-26 last Sunday in Laval, of course, before a couple days before the dome collapse. So good way for Flag Avengers to send the dome out on a high note there. Big tight game, tight victory for the Flag Avengers.
Um, Looking at, so again, we talked about the schedule. Teams are going to be playing for this week. So there's three games. We're kind of saying Green Monsters versus. Oh, sorry, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, you did. My God,
Right.
why am I?
I was gonna say because Green Monsters are playing two out of those three games, right? So a big opportunity from them. Right now they're tied with Team Quebec U16 for sixth place. Right, both teams have 4 points. If you're the Green Monster, right, and again, like I said, you're taking on Team Quebec U16 and Flags Online. If you're a Green Monster, if you can knock off both those teams or at least one, you can at least separate yourself from that tie with Quebec U16 who they're playing, and then you can get a little bit closer. They're not going to be able to catch Flags Online, but again, they can go from having 4 points right now to potentially 8 and be tied for fourth with the Hungry Hippos.
Yeah, and they also, you avoid playing the number one seed and the number two seed in the first round of playoffs, right?
Exactly.
There's also that.
Exactly.
You get to maybe you play versus maybe Flags Don't Lie, maybe Hunger Hippos, depending on your situation. But definitely, it's gonna be two big games for the Green Monsters to see if they can win those games and move higher in the seedings.
Yep, 100%. And you look at Hungry Hippos, right? I mean, the only wins this season came over the winless lay bench warmers. And other than that, they beat Green Monster knockoff. Actually, well, the bench warmers twice. So they're gonna have to try and get a win over someone else who's not late bench warmers. So best of luck again to the Green Monster again as they take on uh, Team Quebec U16 tomorrow on Saturday, and then on Sunday they take on Flags Don't Lie.
All right, let's go to competitive.
Yep.
Competitive 5v5. So looking at the standings for 5v5, I think. Oh, interesting fact. No Regard is pretty much out because Blue Dry 10.1 got their second win of the season
Yep.
versus Montreal Magic, and they won that game 31-30.
Yeah.
So
So
they
shout out to sorry, shout out to Blue Dry 10.1 getting that win. They were looked at obviously as the underdogs going into that game, but a big win for them. Like I said, 31-30 for Blue Dry 10-point win for Juno and company. He actually outplayed Dan Lazare. Juno 261 yards, 5 TD passes to 225 and 4 TD passes for Dan Lazare. So congrats to Blue Dry and the boys. I had a chance to see Blue Dry against the Process a few weeks ago. That's kind of an ugly game. Glad Blue Dry was able to bounce back and find some consistency on offense to get the W there. Actually, so it's cool to see. So Blue Dry won that game on the last play of the game. Eric
Oh,
Nams got a
okay.
10-yard touchdown from Fred Juno, and then they went for the 1 point convo and got the W. Did Blue Dry 10.1. So good walk off W for them.
Yeah, big win for them. It actually puts them in a spot where maybe they could captain a Proxon. And Proxon right now is 2-6. Blue Dry is
Yeah,
two and
yeah.
six as well. They do have two games left. They have a rematch with Montreal Magic, and they play No Regard. So again, I don't think they beat Montreal Magic twice, but you never know. And then No Regard, that's gonna be a matchup that a lot of us were kind of interesting to seeing. But unfortunately, No Regard has two games left. They play Raw Dogs, so that's a must win for them. And then they play Blue Dry 10.1, which is also going to have to be a must win for them. If they win those two games, so again, Raw Dogs is going to be. We had Sanders on the show. We had Sanders on the part one
So yeah,
episode. Um, if they want to make a playoff, if they want to make the playoffs, they're definitely gonna have to win against Raw Dogs this Saturday, and then they have to win versus Blue Dry 10.1, and they have to hope Blue Dry 10.1 doesn't beat Montreal Magics again if they want to bump out Blue Dry because they could technically still bump them out with a tie. Sorry, with the head to head, unless Naproxen loses their next two games because it's a three-way tie, and then it goes all over the place with points against and stuff like that. So it's gonna be
yeah.
interesting to see. And then Naproxen plays Raw Dogs versus KGP Elite. So you never know. Maybe we could have a three-way tie. Maybe we could have a head to head. Still a lot of football left to kind of go on.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna cue it up for you there, Ali Reza. I just don't see uh no regard, or sorry, hashtag no regard getting into the playoffs. It's been a year. It's been a story every year with this team. They have a ton of talent. They arguably have probably the most talented team out of all the teams in this division. Just talking about just in terms of skill, athleticism, size, speed, all that stuff. But whether it's Miles Gibbon or now Zach Deschamps as the quarterback. They have no consistency. This has been their biggest problem forever. They make mistakes at crucial times. They can't make plays when they need to. They can't close games, which is also one of the biggest problems. And they have the talent. If you didn't know who was playing on the team, or sorry, if you didn't look at the records and you just saw the roster, I mean, you go through it quickly. Like Ryan Perry, he's been in the league for Kendall Myers, one of the top defensive guys in the history of the city, right? Jordan Alexi, Kenny Bay, right? Former stud receiver at Connu, Sanders, right? Zachary Alexi. The list goes on and on. My buddy Terry Gerville, like they have talent. It's just they can't either they make crucial mistakes or they can't close or they get in their own way and it just they can't win. And looking at it right now, right? If you would have said going into the season they'd be 0-8, I'm not that surprised. This time last year, I think they finished 1-9.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was division. I guess I'll look see if it was
I think it
division
was
one or maybe
division.
5v5 intermediate. I can't remember, but one win, no wins is almost the same thing.
So are you saying that they're gonna go 0-10 this season?
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Raw
hate to
dogs
see
and
that,
money.
man. But and again, I'm friends with some of the guys on the team, and I hate to see that, but I have no faith in them to get the win. Right? You look at point scored. Besides KGP Elite, who's only played 4 games, that's the only team that no regard who have played twice as many. They played 8 compared to 4. That's the only team they've scored more points than. So what does that tell you? Their offense is a problem. If you think it's just offense, it's not. Their defense is also not that great as well. They've given up the second most points out of any team in the division. The only team that's given up more points is Blue Dry 10.1, which is the only thing I think working in their favor in that final meeting of the regular season. I don't think No Regard is going to beat Raw Dogs. And against Blue Dry 10.0, for all the problems that this team does have in Blue Dry 10.0, they're more consistent, at least offensively, than No Regard. Can they beat Blue Dry 10.1? Of course they can. Just like last year when they had to knock off KGP to get their first W of the season, No Regard did it. So congrats to them on that. Last year we had talked about that. I just, I, I'm gonna say they're gonna finish 1-9 like they did last year. But my confidence in saying that is very very low for this
Hmm.
team.
All right. So
You,
going
you,
down
you think they're
to,
going 0-4? You think 0-4, or
I
do you
think
think
they
they get
go
it
zero
done?
10. They're not winning. They're not going to win any games this year.
Okay.
Blue Dry really impressed me. I think I said at the beginning,
Yeah.
their offense is they're they're learning. Their defense is horrible again. So I mean, it is
Mhm.
what it is. But I think they're better than athletic wise. I think Norgard is better, but
Yeah, of course, of course.
just chemistry wise, I think Blue Dry has better chemistry than Norgard, which is kind of crazy to say
Yeah, yeah,
because they
yeah.
just it's a bunch of guys that have been playing the league, and I'm sure a lot of them played together for a while. But again, it is 5-5. It's a bit different than 6v6. But I just
True.
think Blue Drive, it just as a whole, I think they're in a better spot.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly.
so again, we have this. We're going into week 12. We have Raw Dogs. There's no regard. Kind of talked about that. Montreal Magics versus KGP. That's going to be happening on Saturday at 6:30 in Laval because it's in the main field, and then you have KGP versus the Braves at St. Leo. That's gonna be on the Wednesday. Uh,
Yeah,
just looking at the standings, right? One team doesn't make playoffs right now. No regards, kind of the team that's probably not going to make it. Not looking so bright on their end. Um, are you concerned with? So Party Crashers should finish as the number one seed. Right now they're 8-1 with 1 game left. Right?
yeah.
They're probably gonna play either Blue Dry or they're gonna play Naproxen. Naproxen. I think they play Blue Dry, so they're pretty comfortable in that situation. What concerns me is that if Braves somehow jump Flag Moi, we might get a either we get a Flag Moi versus Montreal Magic, or we get a Braves versus a Montreal Magic in the first round. where it's usually that's probably we've seen them play in the
Usually
finals in the last
finals or semifinal
couple
matchup. Yeah.
seasons, right? We might see that in the first round. So we might see one of the top dog teams, even though Montreal Magics have been struggling. But again, playoffs is completely different than the regular season. We might see one of the finalist teams not even make it past semis coming this season. This season.
So what's your question?
Are you concerned about that, or you're just like, oh, whatever? It's like
Oh
Magic.
no, I mean, oh, okay, okay, sorry. I mean, yeah, it's always concerning when one of the favorites gets knocked off, but that's what the playoffs are for, right? Like, see, we talked about March Madness in the first episode, right? You see all these teams getting knocked off who are favorites. Same thing here in FPF. That's why you got to pay attention, come out and watch the games, right? Um, I think right now, like, I mean, if you have the Braves right now, Braves are in third, right? So playoffs started today. They be taking on Montreal Magic. Montreal Magic have lost 5 games in a row. Montreal
Yeah.
Magic has no magic right now. And I'm gonna say it again. Montreal Magic has no magic. Now you could say that's solely due to the loss of AJ Gomez. I mean, and that's obviously he was their best player. He's not in the league at all this year. So and that's Dan Lazara's number 1 guy. That's been his top receiver forever. Right. So
Mhm.
losing him is big, right? On both sides of the ball. But they lose to Blue Dry 31-30. They lose to the Raw Dogs. They get spanked by the Braves. They get spanked by Flamand Sac. They get edged out by the Party Crashers. The last time Montreal Magic won a game was all the way in week 5, the end of January 31st against winless no regard, right? So that tells you all you need to know. Montreal Magic is not scaring anybody. They have talent on the team? Absolutely, they still have talent, right? You can't have guys like Serge Pilon Jr. get Hall of Famer. You have Felix Boutte. You have I'm looking at the roster here, going up and down. There's a lot of different bodies. Justin McLean, so he's kind of made his return to the league. Well, last year, really. Yeah, a lot of other guys that are great, but they have a ton of subs because their lineups are in flux every week. That's not going to lead you to any victories. And despite Dan Lazara's greatness, with him missing his number 1 target and his best buddy, AJ, this is not the same team, and we're seeing it right now.
Mhm.
So playing them in the playoffs, they're not going to scare anybody. I don't. The Braves can maybe get knocked off in the second round for sure, but they're not getting knocked off in the first. That's if they play Montreal Magic. I can guarantee you that.
You can guaranteed it. He says, guarantee it.
An official
All
Brent
right.
Bodkin guarantee. If the Braves play Montreal Magic in the first round of the playoffs, the Braves will roll Montreal Magic.
All right. Okay. You heard it first. Um, I think that's pretty much it for competitive 5v5. Um, yeah, until next week, we're gonna kind of see how we're gonna see how it unfolds between Blue Dry 10.1 and then Proxen, and then we get to see that sick matchup between Norgard and Blue Dry 10.1. Because I do think Norgard's probably gonna have they're gonna feel some type of way. I'm pretty sure they're gonna go into that game feeling some type of way. Blue Dry Temple knows that it's a new team. Not a lot of people talked about them as much, but it's to the point where like they're gonna be like, "Okay, guys, we can't let a team like this beat us out," you know. So I feel like they're gonna come with a little pride coming into week like I think they play week 13 or week 14 in the last couple weeks of the last week of the season.
No, I feel you 100%. Listen, like I said, I went to that game last. I think I scored kept it actually last year. It was KGP against No Regard. I'm trying to see if I have it here. And both teams, I think KGP had one. I think KGP was like 1-8 going to that game, and No Regard was 0-9. And No Regard, they came out and they balled. They played their best game of the year, and they actually, I think they blew out KGP. I'm trying to find the final score here on the website. Obviously, I don't know how the results here. Anyways, I remember doing that game, and I was like, all right, no regard got the win. I was happy for them. Again, you don't want to see teams go winless, but yeah, man, it's honestly, I don't know if they could pull that off again. Hope that I'm wrong. Hope that I'm wrong, but we'll have to see what happens.
Okay, let's go. You want to go to women's three?
Uh, or you want to wrap up the 5v5? You want to do the co-ed 5v5
Yeah,
or?
we'll go for 5v5. Yeah, that's cool.
All right,
Go with
so
5v5.
yeah, so we got 2 games last week. Kind of a shootout. Maple Syrup beating Nice to Meet You 52-40. So that's pretty awesome to see. Teams combining for 92 points. That's It's a pretty high score. And then one day later, so this past Monday, nice to meet you, rebounding with a 36-6 victory over Team Rocket.
Yeah, not the best for Team Rocket. Again, we said before they were struggling. I think I said they're not going to win a game this season. I'm pretty sure I said that week 2 or week 3.
Yeah, you
That was
did.
like
Yep.
that was my statement. Team Rocket's not going to win a game this season. I felt like their roster was, I don't want to say the worst, but I feel like yeah, I guess it's the worst. I think they have the worst roster in COVID 5v5. Again, I'm not saying they're bad or anything like that. I just think they have the weakest roster. Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
it's competitive, you know. Co-ed 5v5. You have girls. We said it multiple times. You have girls from Team Canada. You have some guys from Team Canada. You have guys that are playing at a high elite level, national team level. Same thing with the females. And I just think Team Rocket's probably the one team where you have the least amount of girls
Yeah.
and guys on it. So I think that's their number one issue. Looking kind of at the schedule coming up, that there's three games this week. You have Team Rocket versus ATs and the Dummies. So
Yep.
maybe Team Rocket gets one there, and then you have the rematch between Spicy Brays versus Flag Moi. Spicy Brays forfeited their last two games, so they're coming back in action. Hopefully, they can get a win here and start back the I guess get something rolling going into playoffs because there is only three games left, and then we finish off with Gundam and Maple
Hmm.
Syrup, and right now Gundam lead by Jean Lee and Tam Sanders as well as on that team. They're on a streak, right? They beat Flag Moi, which is probably one of the best teams in the division. They beat Team Rocket and then they beat Earbuds. So they're on a 3-game win streak right now, playing a very good Maple Syrup team this coming Thursday. Actually, that's a weird time to play it. Thursday in Brossard. So again, Maple Syrup is also on a roll. They're 6-2, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. You have a team Maple Syrup, which a lot of guys that we know. You have Marc Andre Reeves. You have the three Pilon brothers.
Yep. Yep.
You have Jasmine Farmer. You have
Yeah.
Coralie.
Lori Willette. Yep.
Yeah, Lori
Corley
Wet. So
Elizabeth.
very, very strong roster. Uh, they're well known in co-ed 6v6 for sorry, co-ed 6v6. Yeah, they're well known pretty much for that roster. Is pretty much the same thing. They have maybe one or two players, not the same players, but they're a good team. And then Gundam right now are on a win streak. So that's going to be a very good matchup to see those two teams and playing this week on Thursday. So
Yeah.
this should be
Especially
out by
like
Thursday.
right. Yeah. No,
Sorry.
you're right. You're right. I was gonna say, especially like Maple Syrup again, like I said, with their big victory over Nice to meet you, right? Like Marc Andre Reese 315 yards in that game. Like these guys came up balling. Ethan Adrian, for Nice to meet you in that loss, he had 4 touchdown catches. I mean that's pretty solid, but unfortunately came on a losing end. But like you said, big matchup, like you said, between Gundam and Maple Syrup, like I said, this Thursday. And Broussard. Again, with Team Rocket, it is what it is. Like I said, they have the weakest roster. It is a learning experience, but they're taking on kind of a newish team, right? AT&T Dummies. Not saying they're going to knock off AT&T Dummies, but it's a chance to at least do something offensively and get a little bit of rhythm, maybe. Against they scored 6 points last week, but then the week before against Flame on the side, they dropped 24 on them. So I mean, there are some signs of life in that offense. They got to find more consistency.
Mhm. Just look at the standings, right? Everyone makes playoffs, which I do hate, but it is what it is. This is also a new division, so I think it's good for more football to kind of see more football. And there is only 8 teams. Um, I guess it kind of benefits you the most if you do finish in that number one seed because you end up playing Team Rocket. I think
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's a guaranteed win because it's not, but I think it's the most comfortable matchup you could play with all these
yeah,
8 teams. Because other than that, when you look at the 2 seed, you might play a team like Nice to Meet You, or you might play ATs and the Dummies, and then the 3rd seed you play a Gundam, or you might maybe fall into a Spicy Brave. So when it comes around those situations, it's something that you don't want to you don't want to go into, especially the first round,
Yeah,
especially how
yeah,
good every team is, you know.
yeah.
So
Sure.
I think that one seed is going to be pretty clutch if you get it. Right now, you have Airbuds in the number one seed with 1 game left, but they do play Maple Syrup, so that's going to be a hard matchup. And then you have Flag One with 2 games left. One of those games being Spicy Braze, and then AT and the Dummies. So again, that's gonna be a big matchup between both those teams. And then Maple Syrup, team that's usually finish on the top end. They play Gundam. That's on a we kind of talked about. That's gonna be on Thursday, where they're on a winning streak, and then they play Airbuds for the last game of the season. So I think it's to be honest with you, I don't think anyone's secure the number one spot. I think yeah,
Not
literally
at all.
with the 4 teams still left, I think it could go to anybody. So it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna get that number one seed and play Team Rocket in the first round and feel comfortable in feel comfortable in the first round of playoffs.
So that's it, right? Like Airbuds, Flagmont, Dequa, Maple Syrup, they're all tied with 12 points. Like I said, Airbuds have the tiebreaker, but again, they're all tied with 12 points each. And like you said, right, Spicy Braves, right? 5-2. They're only 2 games back, Spicy Braves. Spicy Braves are 2 games back and they have a game in hand. They've only played 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy Braves actually control their own destiny as well, right? They take on Flagmont de Croix. That's going to be this coming Wednesday at Stade Bear. But then they follow it up with Nice to Meet You and Team Rocket, the 2 worst teams in this division. For the Spicy Braves, if you can knock out Flagmont de Croix,
Yeah,
chances are
yeah,
you're going to win out. And, like
yeah.
they could finish it first.
Yeah, they if they do, yeah, there's a good chance if they do beat up they if they do beat Flag One to Quad, there's a good chance that they're gonna finish number one seed. But if they do lose that game, it becomes tiebreakers and points against,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
something that they're
exactly.
probably not gonna lead in since they forfeited their last 2 games, which is probably one of the biggest issues.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
And
All
yeah,
that to say, like, don't go anywhere. Like, stay tuned to the end, to the final week of the regular season, because it's going to go down to the wire
yeah,
for 5v5 co-ed.
yeah, this is one division that it's gonna be like that.
Yep.
Um, let's
All
go
right.
to women's or
Mystery?
co-ed.
Yep. This is
Women's.
yeah, this is ladies.
Okay.
So women's three, looking at the schedule here, we got 2 games coming up. One's tomorrow, A Town against Lehibu. So that's gonna be Saturday in Broussard at 1 p.m. And then She Sparks against Dynamics. That's gonna be Monday at Study Bear. This past week we had 2 games. One was a blowout. Lehibu laying a smackdown by 60 points on the Lioness, 68-6. Again, learning season for Lioness, so they'll take their lumps now and get better for it. Hopefully, that's the idea. And then we had She Sparks beating Spartans or Spartiates, if you will, 35-25 last Sunday in Broussard.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to She Sparks. At the beginning of the
Favorite team?
season. Sorry.
Your favorite team?
My favorite team now. My favorite team. No, but at the start of the season, it looked like they were struggling. They did win their first game of the season, right? They did play. They play Lioness again, but when we kind of looked at it, it was a new roster, names that we didn't know, and then they played A Town, and then I figured A Town was going to be probably one of the best teams, but going down the schedule, it was kind of like Hibu was winning games, Spartans was winning games. So it kind of looked like in the seedings, it looked like A Town was the best team. And then I believe it was the Hibu, and then it was Spartans, and then it was She Spark.
Yeah.
That's how it was looking at for the standings. Now it's completely different. It seems like She Sparks have Spartans' name, so that they're definitely above them. And then She Sparks played. I want to say they played a Hibu the first time. They lost 19-8, and then they beat them 26-19. So they kind of shared one win, shared one loss. So I think they're kind of in the same boat. And then you have A Town, which I thought was the better team, but then they lost to I want to say they lost to Lehibu. Looking at their schedule here, they lost. A Town lost. No, they lost versus Spartans, which didn't make that much sense. That's what I thought. That's what I thought the
Surprising.
Spartans were the
Surprising.
number one because they
Yeah.
lost, and then the Spartans have just dropped a couple few games here, and now it looks like I feel like it looks like Lehibu, A Town, She Sparks are kind of all in a circle together, and then Spartans kinda, but they've lost. I want to say they lost the last two games now. They just lost versus She Sparks 35-25, and then they got completely smoked 46-0. And then they played Lioness, which is like not the best team. They only beat them 14-6. So I kind of want to take them out the equation and put them kind of like in the fourth seed, which they are right now, and then
Yeah.
give Lehibo, A Town, She Sparks. I think it's gonna be between these three teams to kind of see who's gonna be your women's three champion for this season. But I just want to give a shout out to She Sparks. Right now, they're doing so much better. They just got three basically massive wins. You know, they beat Spartans 46-0. That's it's hard. It's a hard thing to do to not let a team score any points, right? And then they played Lioness. They won 18-6, and then they came back, played Spartans, and they won 35-25. So right now they're on a roll. They're doing a good job. They play the CCL next, so that's also good. I think that's gonna be a decent game. But then they play A Town, and then they play CCL again. So they definitely could win their next three games, and maybe they could jump up the number one seed with an 8-2 record. Still a lot of things left. I think
Okay.
the Hebrew
Okay.
I think the Hebrew have a good chance to take this, but they play A Town twice, so
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
going to be a hard matchup for them playing the same team twice, where they're kind of around the same skill level.
Yeah. And they're playing. So looking at, it's funny though. So the matchup with the A Town and the Hebrew. So that's tomorrow. Again, we're filming this on Friday. So March 20th. So the first matchup is tomorrow against A Town, the 21st in Bassar, like we said earlier. But then the second matchup is all the way mid-April. Right, April 13th, Saint Laurent. So actually, I'll be there for that game. Actually, I'll probably be scorekeeping that game. Again, that's all the way on Monday, April 13th. Right, so that's a long time off. That's almost 4 weeks. It's basically 3 weeks off, right, in between games. That's a long time. The A Town, pardon me, so the A Town and Hebrew are gonna have to wait.
Yeah, it's good. Well, basically, week 15, last week of this last game of the season, pretty much
Yeah,
before playoffs start. So
exactly, exactly.
that's a big gap. Um, Kind of look again. We kind of went to the schedule. There's going to be two games tonight. Two games this week. A Town and Nehibu. It's going to be this Saturday,
Yeah.
and then we got She Sparks versus CCL, which is a game I'm kind of looking forward to see if She Sparks can kind of keep it rolling, and get a win versus CCL, and then between A Town and Lehibu, I think that also should be a good game. It's going to be taking place at 1 p.m. Saturday in Brossard.
So I'm gonna give a shout out again to the Hebrew. I know we talked about this game already against Lioness, 68-6 win for Hebrew. Dorian Roy Bureau, 18 of 19, 181 yards passing, 7 touchdown passes. That's doesn't matter who you're playing. That's pretty impressive. Julia Rose Landry, she had 2 pick sixes in the game, and Leanne Lafreniere had a pick six as well. So obviously they were getting points from the defense, getting points from the offense. The defense actually had 6 interceptions in that game. 3 of them they ran back to the house. So that's a tip of the hat to the ladies from Lehibu.
Yeah,
Great
it's
job
always
defensively.
doesn't matter who you're playing when you're able to get
Yeah.
some pick sixes, put some points on your the scoreboard for your defense, and then also hold a team to 0 points. I mean, it's still a good thing at the end of the day.
And you drop almost 70, right? Like 68 is a lot of points to score. So yeah,
Yeah,
good
it
job,
is.
ladies, guys, both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
All right.
Women's.
So yeah, I was just gonna say, so for people that don't know, we had an interview in the first half, the first episode with Brianna Terracone, pardon me, of Thrift Titans from Women's Two, her and her boyfriend Sanders Armand, who also plays in the league as well. So we talked a lot about Women's Two in that interview. So make sure you guys can go back and watch it. The interview was done a lot. It's about 25, 30 minutes. It's a really good interview. We talked a little bit in depth about women's two. I just want to look at the update here. Sorry, update the score. The schedule is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, schedule this week for ladies for women's two. We have Saturday, 2 games. Again, we're doing this on a Friday. By the time this comes out, these games will have been played, but still want to talk about them quick. Old School Dream Killers, Bolts and Chaos. So those are the 2 games Saturday. Sunday we have Cavaliers. So it's Cavaliers against Cavaliers BDEP. So the battle, I guess, former and current Cavaliers are two different current
Oh,
Cavalier
yo, so
teams.
one thing I realized, Cavaliers and
Mhm.
Cavaliers are complete two different Cavaliers. One is
Okay.
like one is from Champlain Cavaliers.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
other
yeah.
the other one is like near Saint Laurent. It's like a whole different
Oh,
team school.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that.
All right
That's
then.
really good. Yeah. I
So that,
found out.
that that's actually that's more fun then. That's better. I like that.
Yeah,
So
way better.
it's a Cavaliers Bowl. Who's the better
Yeah.
Cavaliers? We'll find out in Chattagee on Sunday. Good
It's
times.
funny.
Good
It's funny
times.
how they have the same name. That's the thing that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And then we wrap up things with Wolfpack against the Nomads. So the Nomads again, I don't believe I'm just gonna triple check here. Last time I checked earlier this week, we hadn't played that yet. I know you and I were talking about this game earlier. We still have not got we haven't got the rematch yet between Nomads and Chaos. Again, that game was canceled earlier in the season due to an injury. So I know it's so yeah, here it is here. So it's rescheduled for Wednesday, October 1st in Brassard. So Cavaliers Nomads again. These are before the shot of the 2 top teams it appears right here in women's two. They'll be going head to head. Nomads a perfect 7-0 on the season, right? Chaos obviously 7-0 as well, right? You also have
yeah.
old school 7-0, so old school nothing to spit at either, right? So 3 undefeated teams left in this division, 2 of them going head to head in a couple of weeks. Looking at old school, right? Old school, the remaining schedule sees them play Dream Killers, Wolfpack, and Valhalla. So maybe an easier path, perhaps, for old school on their path to perfection. But again, that Nomads Chaos
Well,
matchup
yeah.
taking place
Was
in early April. Three
what's
three good teams. Let's see how it ends up.
was also the point where Chaos and Nomads have to play for each other, right? So long, unless there's a tie, one team
To
has to
that.
lose a game. It
Yeah.
would have been funny to see if for some reason if Chaos and Nomads didn't end up playing versus each other in the schedule, because then we could have
Mhm.
had 3 teams undefeated. Oh, let's just say if they just go undefeated,
No,
that's just
no, nothing like that. We've already talked a lot about the roster construction and the talent from some teams to the other. But I see your point though. Yeah, to have 3 teams finish undefeated, I guess would be kind of cool. I guess, but
it'd be weird to
thankfully,
see.
hopefully, we won't see that.
We kind of no, we won't. Maybe we'll see 2 teams, right? Because unless
Mhm.
there's a tie, if Nomads and
Yeah,
Chaos do tie, then we could see 2 teams 9-0-1, 9-0 and
undefeated.
one,
Yeah,
and then no, but
yeah,
um,
yeah. Hopefully, we won't see 9-0-1. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully, yeah, there'll be an L on one of those 2 teams, and then again, old school again, still trying to keep their path to profession alive as well. Good time. And it's just interesting times. And again, this is why we gotta keep on watching to week 15. Like, don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay and watch these games. Watch the podcast as well, obviously, and find out what's going on in women's too.
yeah. All right, let's go women's one.
All right. So the cream of the crop here. So looking, pardon me, at the schedule. So looking at this earlier, right? So we only have 1 game this coming week. Kind of a heavyweight fight, I'd say. Matrix against Cayenne taking place tomorrow in Brassard at 7 p.m. 2 teams. Matrix coming off of a big win, 33-13 over Sherbrooke, whereas Cayenne coming off of a dominating 27-7 win over Sub Zero back on Saturday, March 7th. So 2 teams heading in the right direction, at least in terms of the wins. The last games, respectively, going head to head tomorrow night in Brassard. How do you see this game shaking out?
Well, there's just 1 game, right? There's just Cayenne
Yeah, it's only a
versus
game. Yeah.
Matrix. Yeah, I think this could be a good game. Again, the last couple of weeks rosters haven't been the rosters where teams are coming in 100% with their full roster. This game, everyone should be there. I'm expecting for both teams, so we should see a great matchup between 2 great uh, teams at it. Matrix right now 3-3-1, and then Cayenne, as you were kind of saying, they're 6-2. So I'm gonna give it to Cayenne. I think
Yeah.
they're a better team all around. But again, I won't be surprised if Matrix do win this game. So I'm expecting a good game. I'm expecting everyone's roster to be there. It's not as fun when play teams are missing quarterbacks or star
Yeah,
receivers.
yeah.
It kind of changes like how the game's actually played and the results of the game as well too. So I just kind of want to see two rosters, like two full rosters, and just finding kind of like the best of the best. And again, like yeah, that's pretty pretty much it. But I'm gonna give it to Cayenne. I would like to say Cayenne is gonna take this home.
All right. Okay, so I'll choose Matrix then. Again, a lot of big names in this contest. So Sandrine Gobay Hiwata. So she's played 4 games so far in the regular season. Obviously, she plays a fifth. She'll have qualified for the playoffs. I'm hoping if she's back behind Snapper, I was gonna say under center, but that's not the case in flag. So hopefully she's back behind Snapper for Cayenne. And looking, of course, on the other side, pardon me, sorry, from the Matrix. They're going to be rolling with Elizabeth Ashgard, again, one of the top rising quarterbacks in women's football, period, not just FPF. 19 touchdowns, right? Only 0 INT. She's only played 5 games. So we're going to have to see will it be her and perhaps they'll get Athena Ryan to sub if Ashcard can't be there. But if she is, again, Ashcard taking on Gobe Hiwat should be a really good matchup.
Yeah. Something that's also interesting, we kind of didn't talk about it. For playoffs for women's one, top three teams get by, and then the 4 and 5 end up playing versus each other. So we're definitely most likely, I want to say 90% chance we're gonna, well, depending actually, before let me rephrase that. They play Lupin, Sub Zero, Matrix. Unless Matrix loses versus Lupin,
Yep.
sorry, Blue Blood. Um, we're gonna see a Vertea versus Blue Pud in the first round of playoffs. So that's gonna be interesting to kind of see.
Yeah,
See two
yeah. Well,
playoffs, two teams.
they just went head to head like last week, I believe, right? Yeah, they went head to head last Saturday, right? Blue Pod, a tight one at 32-25 victory over Sherbrooke, right? So very, very or Sherbrooke. I think they're 1-7 if I'm not mistaken on a
Yeah,
regular
they won
season, but
one
they're
game. They
yeah,
beat
yeah, exactly,
Cayenne back in
yeah,
February, at the end of February, where a lot of
yeah,
Cayenne's players weren't there either. But I mean, a win's a win at the end of the day.
well, exactly. Better than going 0-4 for the regular season. But again, looking at this Sherbrooke team, okay, so then they ended up getting beat down by Matrix by 20. But the very or the last couple weeks, they've been playing some decent football. Like not against the Matrix. Okay, they got beat down by the Matrix last Saturday, but and that was the second game, right? That was the back end of a doubleheader, right? Like I said, they lost by 7 to Blue Paul. Like I said, they beat Cayenne. Then I mean, Cayenne's missing some players. I hear you, but Cayenne still has some good players coming out to that game. The fact that
Yeah,
Sherbrooke got a
yeah,
W says a
mhm,
lot, right? Again, this is a team who struggled to score offensively. Period. Right? They dropped 34 on Cayenne. They dropped 25 on Blue Paul, right? Two veteran teams. So if they could kind of rebound now after the Matrix loss against Blue Pout again, that'd be kind of nice
yeah,
to see. You never
yeah,
know.
yeah. I got to watch a bit of both of those games versus Blue Bud
Okay.
and Matrix. Blue Bud, like they
Okay.
were in it. I feel like one thing I have to say, I think they're getting better every single week. It's they're the only thing, and there's a difference between Blue Bud and Matrix. Just the way how defense are, like how Matrix was kind of calling their defense compared to how Blue Bud was calling their defense. You saw a difference in between, and then you kind of realize why Sherbrooke struggled so much against Matrix as they didn't struggle as much versus Blue Bud. So that's kind of something to kind of look at. And
Yeah.
certain plays didn't work as effective as effectively that it did on Blue Blood than it did on Matrix. So that's also something to kind of factor. But no, Sherbrooke's looking good. They're they're learning. It shows that they're learning. They know that they're playing the best of the best. So that's also something to see. And they're seeing what works better for them and what works better for them and what doesn't work better for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's practice, 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 practice. And it seems like they're kind of getting some new females as well too on the team, seeing how they fit, how they don't fit, where they could play and stuff like that. So it's good to see that they're not getting worse; they're getting better.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's it. That's how it should be, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's the main reason why a lot of these teams are playing in women's one. One, to the fact that this league is, it's pretty much a great league, and also just the talent and just the talent that you get to play against as well too. I think that's also something that
Yeah,
benefits,
yeah.
where in a lot of other places in the world, and it's crazy for me to say, yeah, the world, you don't get to play so many good teams. So it's something that you kind of want to make sure you take benefit. You want to benefit for them, and you also want to make sure that when you're benefiting for it goes to a way where you're getting better. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right,
you
let's hop over
go,
to Kuwait 3.
yeah, go through.
All right, so looking at Kuwait 3, so the Dream Killers again still 8-0 in the regular season. Their last W
Last week.
was yeah. So they were off last week, so it was actually back on September 7th. They beat down Show Me Your TDs 49-12. So Dream Killers now they're back in action tomorrow, Saturday, against Shadow Squad. So it's gonna be interesting to see what goes on with that. Of course, looking at this team, pardon me. I think it's pretty safe to say right now. I don't think it's too early. Quarterback of the year, I believe is going to go to, and deservedly so, to Noemi Forte. Her debuts again. She leads all players by 300 yards in terms of passing, 1,611 yards. Touchdowns. She's also the number one touchdown thrower, 38 touchdowns, leads the way. So, and she's second in completions. She's third in completion percentage, right? So, Noemi Forte, her debuts, she is balling. So, let's see if she can again lead her team now to keep the undefeated streak alive in her next contest.
Yeah, she's having a great year. You kind of said her stats. She has 1,600. Well, I'm not sure if you said her stats. My dog was
Yeah,
crying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
16, yeah,
1,600,
1,611
yeah,
yards.
passing yards, 38 8 TDs, 5 INTs. So the only person the closest person to her with this with around the same INTs ratio would be pick artist, the guy Jacob.
Jacob Pells, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right. And he has one game less played, but they have 2 games left. So there's that, and he's behind by 300 yards. So I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to her. So I think you're right. I think she's gonna win quarterback of the year. So that's pretty. It's good to see, because you don't really, one thing you don't see that in co-ed as much. You don't see a lot of women quarterbacks
Yeah, yeah,
in
it's true.
co-ed. I don't
It's
think
true.
there's that many. I think there's I want to say there's 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks that are women that are playing women quarterbacks that are playing
Oh,
co-ed too.
I'd say right now. There's yeah, Gabriela Brega. I've seen her for Catch My Balls. Uh, Camille Saint Mary. Yeah, I think yeah, Genevieve Godet. I've seen her play. So that's 4. Catherine Boduca. I'm not sure she qualifies. She's played 6 games. I don't think she's a regular quarterback though. And yeah, obviously, and then Noemi Forte here to be. So there's about 4 or 5, I think, full time female quarterbacks in this division. Hopefully, there's going to be some more as we go forward, like the next
Mhm.
season. But yeah, it's a good start. And again, like let's say the Forte here to be is like leading the way. Again, leading in touchdowns, in passing yards, up there in the top 3 in both completions and completion percentages as well.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Catch My Balls.
Okay.
They won their first game of the season last week,
Yep.
so
Yep.
versus Malicious and
Mhm.
Delicious. They won that game
Upset.
26-25. So shout out to them. I was actually laughing because I was scorekeeping, and so they scored. They went for 1, got the convert, so they went up by 1. Lissa's kind of driving down the field. I believe ends up getting picked off, and you see like they have maybe 4 or 5 people on the sideline, and they're super excited. The ball gets picked off. They're super excited, like they want to run on the field, but like they don't know if the game is done. So the ref whistles, whatever, like this, and they're kind of still like hesitating, like, is the game done? Did we win? Did we win? And
Yeah.
like they find out they won, and they like all run and they're all like celebrating because
Right.
it's the first win of
Mhm.
their season, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they realized if they're gonna win any games this season. They still had 2 games left after that, but just a shout out to them. they played well, and it's the one of the reasons why they got the W.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, congrats to them. A well-deserved win, a long time coming, right? And yeah, that first win of the year, especially when you're like one of the newer teams, it's special. Right? It's important, and hopefully this team could use it as a building block going forward to get a couple more of those W's before the season is all said and done.
Hmm. Looking at the standings, right? Standings is kind of crazy for co-ed three. There's 20 teams. 20 teams, 6 teams don't qualify. So I mean, there's still a lot of football left. Everyone pretty much mathematically can still make the playoffs, which is crazy, but everyone
Yeah,
still can. Sac appeal is 0-7, but if they win 3 games and they just need other teams to kind of lose, they kind of could jump. Same thing for catch my balls, hot dogs, show me your TDs. Everyone mathematically, no one's eliminated. Maybe one team, depending who they play against, and because I know some teams probably play each other, and one team's gonna win, and they probably bump out. But if you're looking at it fast, like mathematically, everyone's kind of still in. So it's kind of interesting to see. The two teams kind of like right now are on the hook are Wonder Niners and Fatties. So one dash
one
Niners
Niners.
are playing Fatties next. Then they play Dream Killers, and then they play Hawk Dogs. So Fatties versus One Niners. That should be a very interesting game. It might come down to playoffs for that. And then
Yeah,
Fatties have Flamingos, and you touch it, you catch as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see for those. And then you have teams like Delicious and Delicious, where they definitely gonna need it. Right now, they're in the 15th seed, so they have Sela Kip and they have Show Me Your TDs for the last 2 games. So they're definitely gonna want to win one of those. And then Show Me Your TDs have Delicious and Delicious, and then they have Shakira 2.0. So right there, like the fact that Delicious and Delicious and Show Me Your TDs are playing, it means unless they tie, it means one team's going to have to jump the other, which is going to give them extra win.
yeah.
So we're coming when we're again, we kind of talked about it. Playoffs is going to be very interesting, and
It's crunch
it's going
time.
to be right now. We don't know who's in unless like don't get me wrong, Steelers, you touch it. Um, Mary Poppins, Shadow Squad. Those teams, you guys are good. You're no one. Yeah, you guys are you guys are good. You guys are in playoffs.
Yeah,
But from the, I want to say the 12th seed till literally the 20th seed, like no one's safe yet. No one has clutched a playoff spot.
yeah. That's pretty safe to say. You're right. You're right. I mean, again, it's fluid. It's wide open. It's how it should be. I mean, you could easily go from being, first in this division to dropping down, considerably in the standings, right? So I mean, this is why you have to play the game. This is why like you have to play the games, and this is why the forfeits happen, right? Like I said, looking at the standings here, like I said, Sax Appeal is still alive. They're 0-7. They've scored 72 points. So they average 10 points a game,
Mhm.
and they're still alive in the playoffs, right? You look at Hot Dogs. Hot Dogs, they're not much better. Hot Dogs have scored 88 points through 7 games, right? So I mean, they're still alive. They're still in the playoff hunt, right? This is why you got to be, don't try not to forfeit. That's why you got to come to the games and try your best and try to get that W, right? Because anything could happen. You look at some of these top teams, Shadow Squad, right? 86 points they've allowed the whole year. That's I think by far the number one defense. Closest like the Padawans with 101 points allowed, right? So but again, the fact that there's so much discrepancy between the teams who are either scoring a ton of points or stopping teams from scoring a lot of points to the teams that can barely score or barely stop anybody, everyone's still alive. You have to go onto the field and play the games, and this is why we do what we do, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing, you know. One thing, it's not fun when you don't have to kind of when you don't feel like a threat where you have to play. You kind of it's to a point where like, okay, we're not in yet. We still gotta play even for those high seeded teams, right? Like you still have pick artists. That one thing. There's also a glitch in the system. Right now it says pick artists are 8-1-1, but really they're 8-1 and their tie does not exist. And then Shadow Squad are 5-3 and their tie does not exist because they played versus each other. There was like a double syncing, so pretty much it's synced 0-0 and then it's synced 30-13. So Shadow Squad and
Yeah,
Pick Artist
yeah.
played versus each other. Pick Artist won 30-13, and then a 0-0 sync also got happened. But Like no one right now. The first seed is not. It's not up. There's we don't know who finishes first. We don't know who finishes last. We don't know who finishes second. We don't
Right,
know who
right,
finishes
right.
third.
Okay.
Everything is still up for takes.
Okay. I don't know if we said it before. Again, Shadow Squad 47-0 over Le New. And Pick Artist 39-0 over the Hot Dogs. Again, we always want to give those teams to pitch a shutout or put up a shutout. Props because again, it's an offensive league. It's designed for points to be scored. You can keep a team off the scoreboard, and not an easy thing to do, no matter what division. So props again to Shadow Squad and Pick Artist for doling out some shutouts this past week.
Shout out. Let's go women. Sorry, let's go Quad two. Oh, we did Quad two.
Yeah. So again, if you haven't heard the interview again with Brianna to Derricone and Sanders Armand. They both played together for back that pass up in women, pardon me, in co-ed too. So we asked them specific questions about the division. So go back to the first episode. You get a chance to listen to that interview. They talked about their own team. Obviously, they talked about Venom, a lot of other teams in the division. Again, this is a really a strong division, I find. For co-ed two. It's quickly any upcoming matchups here. Yeah, a lot of matchups actually. Well, last week, a lot of close games. I mean, McNuggies knocking off Tea Parties. Venom going the distance against Miss Lodge. I think we had talked about the last week as the game of the week. Like again, Venom 38-31 victory over Mixology. Miss Lodge and the Miss Lodge are rebounding on this past Wednesday. So the game against Venom was Sunday. They rebounded this past Wednesday, knocking off the Sour Patch Kids 32-27. Saw a couple blowouts. We thought they were snacks, laying a beat down 43-20 on Michael Scott's Tots and Sour Patch Kids. They actually got a win before that loss to Mixology. They knocked off like Grand Chums 33-13. Looking at this week, there are 7 games in action. Kamikaze Tea Party, Sour Patch Kids Party Mix, Shark Attack, Les Woos. No pads, no helmets, just balls against Le Grand Chum. Le Grand Chum back in action Sunday against Easy Fun. Back that pass up against Sanders and Brianna's team. They're taking on We Thought They Were Snacks. That's my pick for game of the week. That's coming up Sunday. And then the action for week 12 ends Thursday with Mavericks taking on Kamikazes. And if you missed it, again, go back and watch the interview because Sanders Armand from Back That Pass Up called out the Mavericks and he called out Kamikaze. We'll have that clip up for you on Instagram later this week. Just go back and listen to the interview. Check it out to see what he said.
Yeah, shout out to Sanders. Looking also at kind of the playoff standings. Easy Fun McNuggies are coming up, and Injury Reserve are coming up to big weeks. Same thing for Tea Party, all day, every day. Sour Punch Kids. These are kind of the 6 teams that are still kind of fighting for a playoff spot. Even though Sour Patch, Tea Party, and All Day Every Day are kind of right now they secure their spot, but it's not. Sorry, right now they have a playoff spot, but it's not secured. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the last couple games. Sorry, it's gonna be interesting to see how the last couple games these teams do because Tea Party have Mavericks and Kamikaze, which can be pretty hard for them. Then all day every day they have 1 game left. They play back that pass up, so that's going to be a hard game for them. And then Sour Patch Kids, they have that tie, which is a huge tie, but they got Party Mix and the Woos. So again, not the easiest matchup. Party Mix is struggling at 100%, but Easy Fun right now. They can't come, so that definitely could be a win. And then Venom, and I think Venom right now is the best team. That's gonna be kind of difficult. And then they
Yeah.
got back that pass up, and then McNuggies 2-5-1, huge tie for them. They have Mixolodge and Michael Scott Tots. So no one has those three. I want to say the 12, 13, 14. They don't have a secured playoff spot right now. They're looking okay, but you have the injury reserve. You have Easy Fun. You have McNuggies kind of breathing on your neck right now, trying to jump at least one you guys and trying to knock you out of
Yeah.
playoffs.
I will say though that McNuggies win over Tea Party 40-33 last Saturday in Bristol. That's huge.
Yeah,
That win was huge for the simple reason that again, they said 14 teams make the playoffs, right? In this division. And with that win right now, McNuggies is 1 point behind all day, every day, right? And 1 point behind Tea Party. They have six
Mhm.
points, or both the teams have six, and McNuggets have five, right? So that win by McNuggets is huge. It keeps them in position to grab a playoff spot. Again, two hard matchups, so like you said, to finish the season for McNuggies. So I mean, they got a big win over Tea Party, but now can they build off of that as they take on Mixolage, like you said, and Michael Scott's Toss to finish off the regular season.
Yeah, no, huge win for them. Let's go to division. Sorry, let's go to
One
Quad
one.
One,
Yeah.
and I think that's the last division,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
Quad One. So last week, oh, a lot of games last week, right? Um, so interesting fact. I think we kind of talked about that. Yeah, Plenty of Fish beat the IG team, so that was a
Yeah.
huge win uh, for Plenty of Fish. Then they end up losing versus Silly Goose. The IG team got an extra. The IG team got their first win of the season versus Les Grands de Touques. So that's pretty big
Yeah.
on them. And then Les Grands de Touques pretty much said, okay, well, we lost versus IG team. They beat Fit Squad. Then the IG team dropped one to Lego My Flag, and then Lego My Flag got two wins versus the Merge and versus IG team. So a
Yeah.
lot of football happening, a lot of standings kind of going up and down. Um, One team does not make playoffs in this division, right? So I think everybody's safe except for Les Grands de Touques, Plenty of Fish, and the IG team sitting at 1-6, 1-6, and 2-6. If you had to decide for one team not to make playoffs, who are you picking? Kind of looking up, I'm gonna say the rest of the games.
Yeah.
IG
Yeah.
team has Fit Squad, Plenty of Fish, and they gone the Took. So that's their schedule. Plenty of Fish have uh popping it up here. They have the Merge, they gone the Took, they got the Took, sorry, and then they have IG team, and then uh IG team. That's my team that's left. Oh, sorry, no, they gone the Took have their last three games. They have last two games. They played Plenty of Fish and the IG team, so they kind of control their destiny a bit because if they beat those two teams, they can't jump them, right? They can't get jumped. But if you had to choose, who do you think
Right.
is not going to make
I mean, it's interesting because like Gerda Tooth, right? Looking at it already, um, yeah, so they lost to the IG team back in week 11. They actually got smoked 42-14, right? So do I have confidence that they can knock them off? They can. Like Gerda Tooth are a talented team. I don't think it's going to be that much of a blow, but I still would put my money on the IG team. So with that happening, I think the IG team will make the playoffs. Now it comes down at that point to Plenty of Fish and like Gerda Tug. Plenty of Fish has the experience on their side. There's a lot of veterans on the team, and some won a championship before as well. I think though that Gerda Tug has the speed, and it's funny because again, like they play each other. It's gonna be April 2nd. That's the next game for like Gerda Tug. Plenty of Fish. Their next game. Of course, now the website is slowing down when you need it to work. But hold on, let me go
play the
over here.
Merge?
Okay, so the merge, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. March 21st, I see here. I don't think the Plenty of Fish is going to knock off the merge, and
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to beat like Gerda Took. So to answer the question, I think IG team and like Gerda Took make the playoffs. Plenty of Fish will be on the outside looking in.
Okay.
What do you have making it?
Um, I think to be honest with you, I think Legada Two are going to lose their next two games. They're going to lose
Okay.
versus Plenty of Fish. They're going to lose versus ID team, and they're going to get knocked out. And then they're going to be the team that's not going to make playoffs. I think
Okay.
Plenty of Fish is
All
going
right.
to get in. I think they're going to have it. They should have. So I'm just looking at here. Yeah, they should have the tiebreak versus they got the two because they've only played them once. And if they play them once, that means they beat them. They'll have the tiebreak on them. So yeah, I think Legads are gonna be the one team. I think the guys are gonna be the team that's not gonna be making the playoffs. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so you have okay,
Yeah, I have
perfect.
Legads
Okay, so
not making playoffs. Yeah.
for co-ed one, Quaysie, you have Laguerre Took not making the playoffs. I have Plenty of Fish not making the playoffs for co-ed one. Again, we are week 12 right now. A lot of games coming up. We're going all the way to week 15. We'll see who's right and who's wrong. This is a real for you, Ali Reza. Make sure to use it. All right. That does it for this episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. Again, like I said, we had an interview with Brianna Terracone and Sanders Armand, the first couple interview of the FlagPlus Football First and Goal podcast. So a little podcast history. Make sure you check it out. That was in episode 1. This episode, like I said, we did all the ladies, we did all the 5v5, we did the co-ed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. March Madness is here. Enjoy March Madness. I said in the first episode, I'm a Duke fan, so I was sweating last night. It was tough, but UNC's out, so it's kind of all gravy for me right now. Those Tar Heels are gone. I was talking trash all last night, all today to all my friends that are Tar Heel fans. It feels nice. I'm hoping my Blue Devils go all the way. A lot of injuries, so I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Tar Heels are done. I'm happy.
It's March, right? Anything happened in March.
Yeah, it's true. Greatest playoff in sports. March Madness. All right, I'm Brent. He's Quaysie. Thanks to Ali Reza as always. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Peace.
Put the place up. Yeah, we know what